Hello, all of you cute beans out there, and welcome to the stream. I am Razim, currently as Fervis the Lothwolf, and this is Factorio, where, I need to go set up some new mines. Cause my coal mine is at 20k left, my iron ore is at 113. I need some new mining locations set up. Really bad. But last night off stream, I did get most of my RoboPorts set up. I am just missing, like, right here where the place that I want to put it is basically underneath this train. And I don't necessarily want to get rid of this train yet, so once this is done, then we'll put it in. Same thing for over here.
Oh no.
What?
I looked at Steam and my boyfriend has listed Factorio on their wish list.
Oh, good night, Era.
Hi there. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that is, well, you'll have a game to play with him soon.
I have other games I can play with him. God damn it. No, don't. Cobalt, why? Why you do this to me? By the way, yes, fun fact reminder for people, because I think this is legitimately hilarious. My boyfriend Sona's name is Cobalt, which makes playing with Octo extremely funny. It is interesting.
We are gonna do that. Because the blue chips require both of these, so might as well use what I've already got down here for it, right? And we also need sulfuric acid, which is, you know, I said that I needed to go set up mines, and already the ADHD has claimed me, and I'm working on something else.
Yep.
I blame Seda.
Why do you put a single pipe between your undergrounds?
Makes it easier for me to, you know, hook up without having to, yeah, you know, rearrange everything later.
Alright, fair enough.
Gleaming endowment.
Jim and _ tipped $25. 25% frozen reality breach detected.
You all can thank Frost Husky for this idea.
Look, all I'm gonna say is I actively like it when my characters are thrown in awful situations, so like the worse it is, the happier I am.
Well, then I think you'll enjoy this. Hello, Gibby Gap.
It's the pet, pat, pat.
Yes, they are, Geemon. So, send me those details before the end of stream. I'm not going to do it normally for tabletop games, but right now is the best time for this to happen. So, this is a unique tabletop tip goal. Because, you know, my players don't have enough on their plates right now, right?
Look, the more bullshit you throw our way, the better our argument is for getting attribute points and XP and shit. So, like, you know.
Well, I did answer or tell you what's happening there. Didn't I? Oh, okay.
What makes you think this is going to stop or slow down players using it as a argument fuel for getting more stuff?
Ah, fair.
Have you met players?
I suppose I'll replace those with fast inserters.
Picks up the Gabby. You're being picked up.
You're his friend now.
Yep.
You're having soft tacos later.
By the way, Gibbon, why are you saying for Zim to feed you XP? There's other people you need to ask for that.
One of whom was very quick to get out of the voice call tonight.
I know, right?
I suppose I shouldn't say one of whom. The one.
No, because there's also Digi.
Oh, yeah.
Then again, we do need to, like, actually do, like, tournament shit or story stuff. I really want to get more ranks, because we already know that, like, getting a rank up gives, like, 40 XP. I want rank ups. Gabby, I can pick you up as much as I want anyway. You're my pet. You're going directly into my lap right now. I don't care what you put on my lap. You're going in my lap first, though. River, I'm pretty sure that we can get some decent bonus XP stuff by doing ruins related things.
There are a lot of things we could do to get bonus XP and all that.
Yep.
We just gotta get back to actually, you know, that stuff actually being handed out.
Yeah. There's some bad habits about not giving that out as much as should. I know I give out a lot for PTV, but that's also because I keep throwing you guys in, like, circumstances where it's like, hey, you know, you can earn some extra shit here, and then people do. But yeah, no, I really want us to climb ranks in I really want us to climb the ranks in Lost in Chaos, because every rank we climb gives XP, and every rank we climb gives merits and XP. We know that, and then like every other gives an attribute point. So if we just like get our rank up to like a higher rank, we can get XP and attributes and merits. That has been a standing quest for a while. We really need to get on that.
Well, the problem is that we're on two different teams at two different levels.
Yeah. I mean, like, there was the attempt to, like, try and get the teams together, and then that did not work out well.
Oh, right, that's what I came over here for. I came over here and was like, what the hell did I come here for? I remember now. I wanted more drones.
Well, when we all get to silver rank, we all get the bonus XP shit. And it isn't like Team Darklight has needed to do any sort of ranking up things. Didn't Team Darklight start as like a silver rank when like all the side game stuff was even happening?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Which also means that they were silver rank before all this recent shit happened.
Alright, I do not want to have to bother coming back here for a while. So I'm just gonna fill up my inventory with a whole bunch of stuff. I'm apparently out of copper plates, which happens so rarely that I always forget that, get to stock up on them.
Don't worry, you'll run out of copper plates a lot when you start making low-density structures.
Probably.
Besides, we want our trip to Etra to be taken more seriously by the guild. We also need to up our rank there with that anyway. Because normally they don't let teams of our rank go there with, like, official support.
Even silver?
Nope. Usually it's platinum and above that they let go there.
Huh.
Which is 2 ranks above silver. Something he mentioned, like, one time in session, but, like, you know.
There. While I appreciate the optimism, I think it is still an if they merge situation. Alright. Wait, what? Oh. Trying to maneuver with a car is sometimes a bit of an effort in futility. There we go.
I mean, unironically, I liked the name Team Iteration that I came up with at one point.
The what that you came up with?
Oh, for the combination name, because remember we were talking about, like, different combination names to go by for the tournament. And Vane threw out Team Iteration at one point, and I think that's probably, like, a better name than most of the other ones that we could actually get behind to show unity as a group, because it's the only thing we all have in common, is being stuck in these iterations. Because that is literally the only thing our characters all have in common.
Alright, before I actually head out, I am going to go get more iron. Because in this game, you can never have enough iron. At some point, I got a whole bunch of plastic and sulfur in my inventory. I need to get those out of there at some point. Alright, no trains are running. Cool. Pat the idol.
Pat the item.
Also, Geeman, you should probably explain what that is for those that, you know, are not here tonight. you kind of just made, you kind of just posted it, and most people are going to have no idea what it is, because, yeah. Explanations are helpful.
Yep. But yeah, no, like I was saying, like I legitimately feel like the only thing our characters all have in common is just the fact that we're stuck in a dumb time loop. So if we want to have a name that like goes over and does like some amount of like unifying, it should probably be something related to that. Because no matter what, we're not all chosen. We're not all like a specific type. We don't agree on most things. But we're all stuck in the dumb time loop, so you know. I think all of us can still get behind not being trapped in a fucking repeating time loop for the rest of eternity. True, Gaben. But we are also in fucking loop 71,528. That's like our current iteration number. So it's like, if we would have accidentally managed to do it, we would have done it accidentally a long time ago in character. I mean, is it really more stable? As a part of, like, the check thing to, like, go through and all be made a team and get our, like, team rankings, like, Squirrel was talking about how Vane was a danger to, like, everyone around him. And so, like, you know, that's going on record. Most of us have not done anything in character to actually improve our, like, I guess, social standing with the guild, or do anything like that.
Or much of anything to improve relations with each other, for that matter. For all the talking we do.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, really not that much more stable.
So... Oh, I thought Geeman was talking about the, timeline situation. But, yeah. Raijin!
Hey, Raijin. But yeah, no, it's just like a weird situation, I feel. Where it's like, I still think it's really weird that, like, when it comes to the non-Darklight representation of the group, one of, like, Squirrel does not have the lowest opinion of Vayne.
Yeah.
That's weird to me.
He doesn't like Vayne.
That's why I said doesn't have the lowest opinion of.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's weird. I mean, with what's been happening, it makes sense, but it just feels weird for the characters.
Well, Vayne at least apologized, and things are... There haven't been more and more piling on.
Yeah, Vayne just did, like, one big asshole thing, and then that was it. And it's like, that's the only, like, really big asshole thing he's done to Squirrel. And then Squirrel looks at, like, everything else where it just, like, keeps happening, and it's just, like... At least he knows what he gets with Vayne. I think that's probably one of the best ways to put it. Regardless of everything else, he looks at Vayne and he knows what he gets.
Well, the other side of the thing there is also that Squirrel knows he's... Vayne has not tried to be... has not tried to boss Squirrel around.
Yeah.
Unlike, you know, Paz and Wade. And he doesn't necessarily have a negative opinion of Scruff, but, well, it's more like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, he doesn't have an opinion.
You are a ball of fluff that just exists.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like, Vayne does not, like, try to just, like, boss everyone around because he can. He usually only really cares if he's, like, one, got some sort of responsibility towards them or, like, authority over them, or is, like, on his team. Past that, he does not care what people do, really.
And that's the thing, is that he wouldn't have an issue with it if we were on the same team, but we're not, and it's kind of like the likes, like when it comes to Paz, he is constantly trying to tell Squirrel what to do.
But yeah, no, like, Vayne doesn't really care to tell people what to do so long as they're, like, completing their responsibilities enough that, like, he doesn't look at them and go, hey, you're being negligent towards, like, everyone relying on you. Stop that right now.
Raijin, we started by talking about XP in the games, and we started, and from there we got into the whole thing where a lot of the storytellers are rather negligent about actually handing out the XP they're supposed to be handing out. And, well, that led into this discussion now.
Yep, because we started talking about various things relating to different games, and then kind of mentioning about how it was, like, you know, weird, but it made sense with what's going on, but it still feels weird for the characters that, like, Squirrel doesn't have the lowest opinion of Vayne when it comes to the group of people that isn't in Team Darklight.
And then whatever's gonna happen in the Friday game, with the Friday game.
Which one? There's 3 Friday games.
There's 3 of them, yeah.
Last hope.
Oh, I will be taking that over. I'm honestly not thrilled about it. Because, well, if I weren't running Wild Traditions that same night, I'd be more okay with it, but it's the fact that I'm going to be running 2 games in a day with that. It's a bit much, but I think I can manage it. And, well, the main reason that I'm willing to do this is I now, or rather, that I'm inspired to do it, is that I have ideas for crossover events between the two.
Yep.
You know,
By the way, I'm bringing back an old plot point, and I'm totally going to do this, like, on purpose, but also just because it makes a lot of sense, and also I'm legitimately proud of this plot point that I thought of forever ago, which is, Lamau Shade could just pretend to be a human, so that way the others don't get captured. Because remember me talking about that whole thing about how, like, you know, forever ago, like, where it was like, oh yeah, Zorak that pretended to be a traitor so that way he could be a literal Pokemon trader and, like, prank a bunch of people with that. And I'm just like, well, shit, now Shade can do that.
You do have
Lamau.
Primeval Transformation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I assumed, but it was just like, you know, I actually have not confirmed that.
Yeah, the only real thing that was, what's the word for it? The only, 2 weird things with Shade Sheet that was, like, sort of legacy and discussed with Dot that I would need to get with you, was... One, the fact that he had a 25 XP discount on the True Healing part because he could only use it on himself and not on anyone else. He could eventually learn to, you know, use it on other people, but well, first of all, that would remove the discount, and second of all, that's supposed to be like a character event thing for him. Because unironically, one of the interesting, like, what's the word for it? One of the interesting, like, end results of Shade's character arc is, he would make an amazing fucking doctor if he could make his ability work on other people. You know what I mean?
That he would. I'm going to, as far as that goes, my first priority with Last Hope is getting things more balanced, more equal. Because right now, you've got Shade with his ridiculousness. You've got
of
Kin.
Which, you know.
Yeah. Well, you've got Kin, who doesn't have anything extravagant, but it is still a noteworthy that he can do the, you know, pure type fire.
Yeah, that... It's like, you know, it doesn't change anything when it comes to the normal course of things, but it is a notable thing, at least.
But meanwhile, what does everybody else in the group have?
She also has his crystal, technically.
Hey there, Cosmo. The factory is going well. You have minions, you said, Toshime?
Brussels has
because he has
minions.
Brussels minions.
True. Do you have a mechanical setup for them, or is it just they exist?
Kind of exist because there wasn't anything at the time.
Alright.
It was mostly just me messaging the person running the game on what I wanted them to do.
Alright, we will get that straightened out. Because, yeah, we're going to get you proper setup on... with minions, if that's, you know, the route you're wanting to go with. which is a-okay with me.
Okay.
Just one of those. We actually need to codify it.
Yeah.
Which does, of course,
the
mean
only-
we're going to need to also, you know, have them around.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I know that Shade has access to, like, ridiculous things, it's just that I also intentionally really don't use it.
Yeah.
Which, like, due to Shade's characteristics and character, he has the easiest way to canonically, like, get rid of those, which is just, he makes a deal with Greaves to not use them, unless, like, under very specific acceptable circumstances, or even just not at all. If there is one motivation that Shade understands and can respect is, hey, don't ruin my entertainment.
Yeah, we're going to be working something out on that.
Yeah. But I do think it's hilarious that, like, if Greaves' listed motivation for it is just the equivalency of don't mess up my entertainment, that would be something that Shade would just be like, oh, okay, I could agree to that. But yeah, the only other non-raw thing was his healing, because it could only be on himself, was centered around integrity instead. But if he has to buy medicine for it, I'll just buy medicine anyway. I was already planning on having him pick up medicine, so...
Yeah, I'm going to say it'll require medicine. I'm okay with you having it, but we're going to go raw with that, where it needs the medicine.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I paid for the things anyway, so it's like... Literally, there are two things that are weird on Shade Sheet, and it was just... One was that it scaled off of integrity, and two, that he got a discount because he couldn't use it on other people.
The discount... What is the normal price for it again?
50, and because he could only use it on half the available targets, he got 25 XP off on it.
I will allow you to
Because he could
keep
only
that.
use it on himself. Yeah. Literally, that's like... It's technically raw, it's technically not. That one was like the one where I'm like, yeah, that one will probably stay, but going off of integrity, you know. Technically, me having him have actual, like, medicine score opens up more things anyway, so it's like... It technically benefits him to have it swap over to medicine. It just means I'll have to put some minor amounts of XP more into medicine. But yeah, besides that, Shade's everything is raw. That is the only special bullshit that he had. It was all of two things, and one was a discount that is like an acceptable discount.
Yeah.
Like, everything else was raw when it comes to, like, the actual sheet numbers thing. Which, I was very careful to keep as that, because, you know, holy fuck, did I not just want to, like, sit there and constantly have Shade doing a bunch of random bullshit that no one else could even hope to try and do stuff similar to.
Yeah.
Which is why I just straight up was like, okay, yeah, so I know he could technically do this, he's just not. Because, you know, technically he could have done a lot of shit. I just didn't see the point because it'd honestly be kind of boring. I don't want a character that is just, you know, going to do, like, random god mode bullshit, because that's boring.
Uh-huh.
You don't want
I get
Superman.
it. I absolutely enjoy having a strong character, but I don't want to be the only one that has got anything going on like that.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, you know, I enjoy Shade's bullshit and the kind of bullshit that Shade can do. I just kept it as raw as possible. And, like, you know, small disclaimer was that, you know, some of the stuff we made for Scar early on was just because we needed to fast track that shit because Shade was capable of it, but hey, you know. I wouldn't say that they were, like, bad things to add to the game. It was just more like we needed to fast track that shit because otherwise, you know.
I will give Kerr this. He did drive quite a bit of development forward.
That is true.
For better or worse.
But yeah, there was a lot of things that, like, I hastily tried to have developed just so that way, you know.
It goes
I
from
wasn't just running
bullshit
around
to
with a
slightly
character.
less bullshit.
Yeah, instead of it being complete bullshit that only he could do, it's just, okay, I've now paid for the bullshit. And now I can relax until the next random ability gets thrown my way. And then the next random ability would get thrown my way, like, very shortly after, and I'd be like, God damn it.
Because the new anime thing that he watched came out.
Yeah.
And with Brussels, I have 374 points that I can spend.
You have
XP.
374 unspent XP?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Spend it!
If you want help spending XP, I will happily help you with build bullshit.
I will very much say that you are going to want to spend it for the next, within the next couple of sessions, or for the next session, rather, because you are literally going to be fighting against a horde of demons, and character death is possible.
Yeah.
I am plotting out it's going to be a very tough encounter. Or at least that's
especially
my plan.
because like I did make it pretty clear before, and like this is a known plot point, that Shade did something very unrecommended and pissed off a demon prince for fun, which is probably going to go for his head during this. Shade is not in the business of making good decisions, though. Because I think anyone could have literally seen that, oh hey, maybe pissing off a literal, like, demon prince is a bad idea. I think everyone could have saw that one coming. Or, like, a general of hell, or, like, whatever title they want to give him. Shade canonically was not paying attention. I also fully expect that at least at some point Fuko will take the chance to accidentally, quote-unquote, stab Shade.
I'm very tempted to accidentally get rid of pretty much all of the NPCs that were thrown in by Kerr.
I mean, yeah. A lot of them can just... If you're just gonna get rid of, like, some of them, now is the literal exact time for that, but it isn't like we had very many named NPCs anyway.
Yeah, it's... I don't know if I want to deal with you guys having a full town and such right now. Might make it a thing where people get scattered about, and that'll be the kind of final season thing of figuring out where everybody went and stuff. What did you have in mind there, Blue Bat? Also, I'm asking this now so that way I can kind of direct my brainstorming, but what are your thoughts about the XP situation? Do we want to go through... Okay, I guess I shouldn't say want, because we definitely... I don't know about you, but I definitely don't want to go through and revamp all of the costs of for XP. But do we want to go the route of revamping costs, or do we want to just give more XP, or did you have something else in mind altogether?
All right.
Because okay, I guess I should start. I'm assuming you are on the board of something needs to be done there.
Yeah, well, the other thing that, like, I want to bring up is that I don't know if it's actually just straight up EXP that is the problem, or if it's similar to, what should I call it? Like, extra lane syndrome. You know, where you add one more lane and that'll totally fix traffic.
Yeah, that is definitely a concern.
Because here's the thing. We keep adding, because, you know, we're constantly coming out with new systems, and this is a good thing. So we're constantly adding on things to spend EXP on. And there's new things to go down. And that means that people are constantly buying up, like, new aspects to their character, and that costs, it generally costs a lot to get into, like, you know, a new primeval feature, or go down an upgrade tree, or pick up, like, you know, some feats that you know, you wanted for your character to unlock this thing or that thing or this thing or that thing. So people are constantly going down new routes for their character, and it takes a lot of XP to branch out characters like that intentionally, because, you know, we want to encourage stuff like team play and going like, hey, do you really need multiple people that go exactly fully into everything to do with this or that thing? And not that you can't, it's just like, you know, hey, talk with your team and see if this is something that, like, you desperately need, or if it's just like, you know, you all look at and you're just like, oh yeah, this seems like fun. And so, you know, I don't know if the problem is actually the amount of XP that people have, or if the problem is the amount of things that people are constantly buying.
The Skittles situation.
Yeah. And, like, it's been something that I've been thinking about a lot. Especially because, like, you know, it's really hard to determine what the answer is for it. But it's just, like, I don't know if the problem is actually the XP amount, or that people are spreading out their characters a lot. Or, another thing that I've been thinking about is if the problem is that storytellers aren't giving out discount XP as much. Because remember, we're also, generally speaking, supposed to get rather decently sizable amounts of discount XP based on what our characters are doing. So if we're not getting the discount XP based on character actions and the things that we have them do during downtime or do a lot during gameplay, you know, that also means that they just have to buy that with pure XP instead of getting discounts. So there's, like, a bunch of things that could technically be a part of the issue, and I don't know if it's just the pure XP amounts that are really the problem. Because I remember before that one of the things that we did in order to, you know, help determine how much XP we wanted to have for everything as a part of like, you know, the system and going through, was that we went and I made multiple characters that had like, you know, access to these amounts of things, these amounts of built out moves, you know, these types of things, all that kind of stuff. And we went, yeah, that's about where we want a character to be at about this attribute point. And we found out that that was, generally speaking, at about 100. That gave us really good numbers. And having more or less meant that, you know, it was still very possible to, you know, have things. But, you know, it also wasn't exactly like it was, you know, you could have everything.
I am thinking that it's just that difficult point of there are a lot of things that people could want to go into. There's that question of, because, like, Furvis, for example, he's the party tank. He's got the minions going on. He's got the, teleportation. And, like, I know that he is an extreme case of way too much going on. However, is it, like, there's that question of, is that really too much going on?
Yeah. Which is why I brought up the whole, like, what we did before was me going and making a bunch of characters and us going, yes, this is about how much we want characters of this attribute point to have. So if we change our answer of that, obviously then, like, you know, our XP goals need to change. But, like, another thing that I like to point out, and I did point out earlier, is that, like, another likely culprit is how allergic people are to giving out discount XP.
Well, Ryan is bringing up that the last time this was brought up is that he mentioned discounts are a problem. And I do agree. Because if we are expecting... There are a lot of storytellers out there that are just not going to want to manage that. They're not going to want to deal with that. It's hard enough to get them to actually give out XP every session, let alone be like, yeah, you know, I liked how you did that. I think we should look at discounts as this is a bonus, rather than they should be getting this, which isn't great, but I believe that that's what we need to do. We need to look at it that way instead.
All right. So if we want to look at it that way, we're probably going to want to bump up our expectations for target XP then. Because I think, what was it that we decided a while ago? Was it that we wanted like about a quarter of the XP that a character had to be from, like, you know, the earned discount things? Like a fifth to a quarter about?
I don't recall us ever having a solid number on that.
This was like way back when we were first like setting up like expectations for like character stuff. When we were deciding to do the split between like merits and XP and, you know, discounts, and if we wanted there to be like individual discounts or if we just wanted discounts to be like party wide, everyone just gets bonus XP. I think we said like a fifth to a quarter. Which is also why we started out characters with so much like free shit, because that technically counted towards the discount thing.
Yeah.
But if we're basically just trying to turn discount EXP from, yeah, we expect you to get like a certain amount of this, not nearly as much as the actual like XP that you earn, but like enough that you can pick up some skill points from it, like fairly regularly if you just work on it, or like getting XP off on specialties and the like. Yeah, primeval farms are an amazing way to diversify, but that also means that you have to actually invest in that too. It helps your diversification like a lot. It's probably one of the best like technical, like empirical best features in the system.
Yeah, but I don't want that. I really want to avoid having anything that is like, yeah, you're gonna have to take this, otherwise you're screwed.
Yeah. So the thing is that like a while ago we talked about it being about that much. Do we want to increase our target EXP numbers by about that much? Because like I know one, like here's a good question. How do you feel about our EXP amount in for attribute in terms of Lost in Chaos?
I'll be honest, I haven't looked at much with Lost in Chaos's stats in a while, because well, we just haven't gotten anything.
Yeah. But I'm talking about EXP for attributes. Where we are in attributes, like our EXP and mixed with our discount amount. Like, do you feel like in Lost in Chaos you've had enough XP to do basically most of the things that you want with Squirrel's build, EXP-wise?
No.
No.
And actually, I mean, when it comes to Squirrel, he's honestly rather basic in terms of what he's picking up. Let me pull up his sheet.
Yeah, because just as a note, like I'm not asking about like dream scenario. He has XP for like literally everything he could want. I just more meant for like the core of the character.
For the core, no.
For the core, no. All right. How much do you think you're off for our attribute level for getting the core of the character?
I don't have a specific number. I just know that I want him to be able to actually have some actual moves. And currently, he does not.
All right. How many weapons does he have built out?
Only 2. I have not done anything with the tail axe, and the 2 that he has are just the, they are, quick action ones. Which did I?
All right. So
Okay,
basically
no,
by our multiplier, we'll count quick action things that are actually built out as being equal to like 1. So, all right.
Hold on.
You have 1. Go ahead.
Just seeing Rygen's comment. Just by having skills, feats, and combat all scaling off of the same source of progression is already a lot of opportunity cost decision making that the average player will be overwhelmed by or otherwise negligent to. I honestly agree, Rygen. I feel that that is probably... I know that I know that you didn't like the idea of, red and blue XP, but I'm wondering if we shouldn't start having that. Because I look at...
that would be red, blue, and yellow, because we already do merits for the red and blue.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You weren't fond of that either.
Yeah.
But
that's because normally trying to track a bunch of, like, I have this much red XP, this much blue XP, I have this, I have that, is also something that generally introduces and sparks a lot of like confusion in people. And just going, well, why, if I want more of this, why can't I just spend some of this?
When the alternative there is like an example of a system where it seems to be working well would be Exalted Essence, where you've got, I believe they call them minor. It's been a while since I looked at the actual names, but they're called milestones, and you've got like major, minor, and personal, I think it is. Major ones can be used to upgrade your attributes. Minor can let you pick up various charms, abilities, And
Yep.
Personal, I forget what those can be used for. But it might not be a bad idea to take a page from that and split it up, where you've got combat XP, which is, or not as, we probably won't call it combat XP, but we'll call
Ability
it
XP.
Yeah. That can only be used on weapons, on moves, magic words, etc. And
Might
then
when we get it out.
what was that?
I said might when we get it out.
Yeah. And then you have general XP that can only be used on skills, feats, primeval features, things like those. And, like, I would be okay with allowing it, the crossover, but I feel like that might complicate things more. It might be a detractor.
I was about to say, if we're splitting it up like that, it shouldn't be, that. And like Gimmon pointed out, then there would be the issue of storytellers giving out, like, this, that, and all that, where it's like, then they'd be choosing which type of XP to give out constantly. And they're already, iffy on giving out one type of XP.
If they even give out any at all.
Well,
as I said, if they're iffy about giving out even one type sometimes.
Okay, Raijin, you're right. We don't want to add to the overhead for storytellers. But do you have a solution to that? Do you have an alternative? The only alternative that there was the thing that we did forever ago where they would just get a flat 5 XP every session. But then we ran into issues like Lost in Chaos where we spent, 10 sessions literally doing nothing. And suddenly we have all this XP. And are nowhere near a milestone for an attribute increase, etc. Things like that. I appreciate you pointing out that issue, but that's a known issue that I don't see a solution for. And every tabletop system has that. The only exception there are like D&D and Pathfinder, where they would just do a milestone, which a lot of storytellers went with, which we could absolutely introduce that. It's like, okay, instead of just giving out XP every session, it's you give out, when you feel they've reached a proper milestone, you give out, they get an attribute, they get so much XP and so many merits. But I am all for hearing them, Raijin. I can't say that, you're right, they probably won't pass, but you can still offer it, and at worst, we say no. At best, we could accept it, or it could inspire us to do something else altogether, Well, Gaiman, the main reason, or one of the reasons for bringing this up is that a lot of storytellers are not giving out discounts.
Yeah. And I wanted to give Lost in Chaos as an example, because I know we actually do have a decent amount of discount XP in Lost in Chaos. We're probably around somewhere between 200 and 300 discount EXP per person due to things like the group discount XP that we got, like by doing training stuff and getting. I know at one point we got like 60 XP with like that we're allowed to use on like moves and weapons that were discount, and then on top of that we also like mostly got like a free specialty on top of that, which is another 15 XP. So that was like 75 XP from like one event. And that is like, you know, a significant amount of XP. And then I know he also gave out some like a decent amount of discount XP over the time skip. Which is why I wanted to bring up that and see, like, even if with that amount of XP that Zim was feeling like, okay, yeah, with that character, I'm more towards where I would expect a character of this attribute point total to be. Even with the fact that we have, like, you know, a decent amount of discount XP. And that's why I wanted to, like, ask and check that a while ago. And then we kind of changed topic before I could, you know, keep going with that, but hey. Raijin, we have actually had a discussion about this before, about tying feats to milestones, and our big thing to consider with that, and I want to just bring this up like as a reminder for what it was based on the fact that now certain builds, if you wanted to get them off the ground, would require a lot more opportunity cost for feats. Including like feat trees to go down, and the fact that we can tune feats around being, generally speaking, worth a certain amount of XP. But there were problems with a lot of feats not being worth the feat slot, which is what we ran into a lot when it came to like intrinsic feats, for example, when we had those, where people were completely avoiding taking certain intrinsic feats because it wasn't worth the feat slot, even if it fit their character, compared to the strength that other intrinsic feats might have. And we kind of didn't want to run into that again, where people were specifically holding off on getting feats because, you know, of things like that, or where people were avoiding entire builds because they required a lot more feats than other paths. Like, for example, if we went down that way, the parry build, like doing any amount of parry build stuff, would immediately become, like, garbage tier. Because there's like 5 required feats in order to, like, really go down the parry path. So, like, it definitely would solve some of our issues if we took away things that you could buy with XP and changed it over to something else, either being milestone or based off of merits or things like that. Would definitely reduce our EXP. I'm going to call it EXP strain. That would definitely reduce our EXP strain. The problem is making it so that way builds are still viable when we do that. I think that's the best way that I can describe it. Because right now, paying, like, just some extra XP is a lot more accessible than using very limited points.
Well, like... So, are you suggesting that the expertise... So are you suggesting that the expertise is, you know, you only get... So I guess you'd only get an expert feat every now and then with whenever you get expertises up? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, they're saying that you either get expertises or you spend the merits on feats. So instead of like getting an expertise up better, you would buy a feat with it instead. So, you know, like let's say they would have to choose between getting their logic up to 3 for 30, or instead picking up a feat that they want.
Yeah, no buying feats. I didn't think that's what he was saying.
Oh, no buying feats? Okay.
Yeah, that one would be shut down immediately, frankly.
Yeah. Well, because it's also like, in that case, how would that be tied to merits? Because merits are literally just the XP that you spend to buy expertises in particular. So how would you tie it to merits? Merit thresholds as a milestone? Merit thresholds as a milestone.
I'm not certain I follow.
No, they're saying, like, let's say if we put the merit threshold at, like... Let's just use 25, because that's the current feat... Or, not feat, that's current, like, feat cost and XP. Like, an example of that would be every 25 merits you gain total, you would unlock another feat slot that you could get a feat with. So, you know, going from 25 to 50 would give you another feat. Going from 375 to 400 would get you another feat. Just like as an example, as a random number. So, like, you know, if we set it to 50, it'd be every 50 merits you earn total would get you another feat.
I mean... Honestly, when it comes to feats in D&D and Pathfinder, it's kind of always been a bit of a, they've always been a bit of a struggle for me, personally.
Honestly, if we're going to tie anything to being more milestone-based, I feel like that should be specialties and not feats. Picking up, like, free specialties and stuff. That would make a lot of sense for, like, milestone-based stuff. Feats, it makes less sense for me to tie feats to that. And that would still run into the fact that, like, you know, not all specialties are created equal.
Yeah.
But I feel like that makes more sense to me than, you know, doing the whole thing with tying feats to it.
Duke.
First off, I would be all for, I would absolutely be all for going like, okay, yeah, once you've reached so many merits, you get a free specialty. I would be on board with that 100%.
Yeah.
It would. I would say we still have the option to buy more, but
Well, yeah, I'm saying for free.
yeah, free.
Because that would also free up XP. And also, just to be honest, people are supposed to have way more specialties than they do right now in games.
And part of that is because XP starvation that a lot of them are feeling is...
Yeah, so, you know. Then there's also just the fact that, like, you know, sometimes it's just like, you know, storytellers just don't want to approve certain specialties, and then it's just like, oh, okay.
I haven't run into that too often.
Well, I'm just saying for, like, people, like, trying to do their build stuff, because a lot of the time it's players trying to come up with specialties for their characters, and not storytellers trying to come up with specialties to give to the players.
Oh, you're right, Raijin. You're very much right. I know you didn't give a hard number or anything. Just kind of thinking, we're trying to think through things and brainstorm off of what you suggested here.
We're just kind of, like, feeling how we would feel about that, like, game design-wise. Because, like, the numbers themselves, we could always change that and just be like, okay, what if we gave out a bunch of feats? Like you mentioned, it's just like, you know, how do we feel about that mechanic being tied to that? Which is partly why I brought up the whole, like, you know, as an extension of that, I would feel a lot better about giving out free specialties at merit breakpoints rather than feats. Because specialties, to me, feel a lot more like they could be tied to merits and still be purchasable with XP. If we want to, like, limit it more, we could always say that, like, you could only have a number of mastered specialties at certain breakpoints for merits. So if you want to master another specialty, and we could give out, like, mastery points to master a specialty, that's, like, another option.
I don't like that idea myself.
I'm just saying, like, going down this sort of, like, idea path. It's more like us just trying to feel out how we feel about certain, like, character paths and you know, game design.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's also just because either we give... we'd also have to strike a very, very particular balance in the amount of feats that we give out. Because if we give out a metric ton, then feats will quickly become, like, meaningless. And you just, like, select all the ones that you want, and there's no, like, decision-making to be had there. And so that's, like, something that I would view as a negative, and so I, like, was like, okay, so we can't just, like, give out as many as people want, obviously. But if we get it too low, then it turns into the problem of people will start being very avoidant with what they actually get. Because then, you know, they don't want to utilize the thing because, you know, maybe they want something else, or they don't want to go down a character build path because it would take too many of the feats that are tied to the merits. So, like, we'd have to find the exact right number, but the problem is also that the exact right number will vary depending on builds. We're like, you know, for instance, condition builds do not really give a shit about feats that much. They care about, like, having, like, 5-6 feats maybe to, like, pick up some healthy feats, and then, like, maybe a defensive feat upgrade or two or something like that. And beyond that, they really don't give a fuck about most feats. Because we don't have a ton of feats that, like, upgrade condition use on purpose, because conditions are, like, super strong. But that does run into the sort of issue where it's like, you know, condition builds don't care about feats. Parry builds care a lot about feats. And it's really hard to treat them equally if they're tied to merits, because that might run into the condition player not really caring if they get a lot more merits, and the feat and the parry player being absolutely fucking desperate for more feats. But they're both on the same team, and they both, like, you know, try and guide the story, like, in accordance to things. So, like, you know, the condition user will care a lot more about XP than they would merits, and the parry user, parry builds are like cheaper on the XP when it comes to like the actual like move portions or I guess ability portions. They don't care too much about XP when it comes to that. They need XP for feats. So it's like it's also just considering how much we'd have to overhaul everything else to make it so that way this doesn't just like completely fuck over like certain builds. And that's the part that like I'm concerned about with this, is due to the fact that different builds care about different sections of our EXP pool, how to change and fix things to do with EXP that doesn't just actually like kill multiple builds outright. Because that's the big concern here, is the fact that like, you know, it might just straight up kill a lot of builds.
That's kind of the big concern with a lot of our designs.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Which is what I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead.
Pathfinder and D&D and, well, prior D&D, I don't want to say current because, well, they don't really use feats at all. But, like, Pathfinder, you know, they have their classes where if this class needs a lot of feats, great. They just get a feat, like, every level. Whereas with ours, it's like, without the classes being able, like, different builds require different amounts of feats, like Tal was saying, and we can't exactly just be like, well, if you're going down this build, you get this feat. Whereas, like, a condition build, they're going to care a lot more about the amount of XP they're getting than the number of feats. I don't think we should look at this as an individual thing either way. The solution here is not, let's separate out specifically one section, you know, feats or primeval features or skills. Let's not separate out any one of those. Keep them combined together, whatever we do with them. One type of thing altogether. So, because that's really the only way to keep from breaking a build, and not invalidating a build, rather. Or just making it where it's like, cool, I got this, I got no use for it. Like, I know with
or they
paint,
just go, okay, I guess I'll just shove it in extra HP because I guess.
Paint, I keep getting so many feats, and it's like, I have no idea what feat to take. Every time I get a level in Recallers, I'm just sitting here like, oh, now I gotta go pick another feat.
Yeah,
So,
and that's how condition builds would feel with this. They just would not care about the feat selection thing.
it's kind of like with Wizards, with Pathfinder, and such, where, yeah, they do get feats, but it's limited to magic creation feat stuff.
Which, like, to be fair, is mostly just what they care about.
Yeah. But even then, it's like half the time they don't even care about that.
Yeah. So it's like, I definitely don't think it's a bad idea to like look at tying in things more. With like, you know, because we already have breakpoint things that give extra XP. A really good example of that, I think, is a really good example of that would be the signature ability. That's literally
That
just
is-
free XP at certain breakpoints.
That is a great one. But the fact that that is just that only helps with one thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying that like as an example.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this place is going to be under attack so much. My car cannot take out those nests, but I could probably take out these ones, and I think I'm going to go do that now. God, those big biters take so many bullets. Oh crap, I'm out of bullets. Luckily I had more ready to go, but scary for a moment.
Unironically, though, I'm very much so liking the idea behind, for instance, giving out like free specialties at certain breakpoints.
Oh, 100%. Add that to the to-do list, please. Because I would so be on board with adding that. And I doubt Arrow would be against it either.
Yeah, because specialties are supposed to, like... People are supposed to really, really, really go after specialties in the mid-game. Like, that's just a part of our design. I think is the best way to put it. Like, you know, specialties are supposed to be absolute, like, crack tier, thing to get in mid-game. Because, like, for instance, that in late game, that is how you get things like your defensive stats above 10. Like, you know, picking up a melee evasion specialty. Because that's like, you know, one of the sorts of examples that you can give. Like a melee evasion specialty. That means, like, you know, if you're in melee combat and the opponent is attacking you with a melee attack, you get +1 evasion, which is huge. You can pick up things like that for integrities and get, like, type. Like, you know, like, let's say you're weak to a certain type of damage, and you go, okay, I'm really weak to poison. However, I want to try and pick up a specialty for my integrity to resist poison. And I think one of the big things that, like, makes specialties not be as, like, prolific as they should be is the fact that specialties are unique in that they're the things that are supposed to get a lot of discount based on RP.
Mm-hmm.
And because people aren't giving out a bunch of discount XP, specialties just end up not getting taken because they're supposed to be expensive to, like, raw purchase. Like, they're just supposed to be. Like, that is the part of the point.
Pat the arty.
And, like, I'm not saying it, like, as a bad part of game design, because I think it's still a decent part of game design. It's just not working out when people aren't doing it.
Yeah. That is the biggest difficulty that we are running into, in my opinion. Is just that it's not being given out. It's not being acknowledged. It's just... Yeah, sure, it's here. Technically.
Yeah. Because, like, the thing is that you're supposed to work at something in order to get a specialty until, for instance, you get, like, a 5 XP discount. Because that's when specialties feel like they're, you know, like you're not eating a cost to it. they're really more worth around like 10. Because you're supposed to work until you get like a little bit of a discount on it. Like just a 5 XP discount makes specialties feel a lot better. It's just, I think that's part of the reason why specialties in particular feel expensive and barren, and it's just because they aren't being given out as much as they should. The discount XP for them.
Yeah.
I more mean.
What I have in mind right now to help with the, because I definitely don't want a situation where it's like, well, they're never doing combat, so they're just going to get nothing for helping when they do actually do combat. So what I'm thinking is maybe when, and it'll help lighten some of the load on a storyteller, is when we do split up the XP, however, it's just a simple, okay, when you get 10 XP, you get 10 combat and 10 general. We'll just go with those terms for the moment.
We could always say, like, combat and utility.
Yeah.
But saying general makes it sound like it could be used anywhere.
Yeah, but for the, like, we can figure out actual names for it later, but just putting the idea out there right now is the important thing. RD, I have told you how I feel about you throwing things at me. I am not a Pokemon. But, like, it is going to essentially double the amount of XP that they're getting. But I also kind of am like, I kind of feel like that's what we need. We may wind up with people having too much.
That'll definitely happen from this.
It would, like, yeah, it'll wind up feeling like people have too much. However, I think overall, people would rather have too much of something that they can use on whatever they want than not enough. Well, yes, Artie. The rules are the rules. Though granted, I was doing that even before, Twitch put in that rule for always having to have pants.
The characters can be a little bit overpowered, just as long as the storyteller knows how to change the stats to their...
That's also a very good point, Toshime. Very good point.
Yeah. But, like, the thing that I'm trying to be cautious about with that isn't the fact that I don't want players to feel strong or like they're able to do all the different things that they feel like they want to do with their character. The thing that I'm trying to be careful about and want to avoid if possible is every character becoming, an everyman that doesn't need other characters to cover their weaknesses. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does very much make sense, and it is very valid, but we're just trying to think of solutions right now. And that's just one that I've got currently floating around in my head.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, I think giving people more specialties will help. Because, first of all, that's, generally speaking, anyone can just put some fucking dots in skills. It's really easy to do. People do it all the time. Specialties is how you actually, like, you know, define your character and differentiate them from the other character that happens to have 4 in a craft skill, for instance. And so there is that. Doing combat and utility XP. Like, on one hand, that will push for a lot more, like, balanced characters. I think that is something that I could say is, like, a definitive effect. There will be a lot more balanced characters from this, if that happens. The other side of it is that there are characters where, like, they just kind of also, like, maybe this is just, like, my personal bias speaking, because I will make characters like this. There are characters who, like, just don't really care about being good at fighting, like, in direct combat.
Yeah, you are very
And
much
don't
right
put-
on that.
And don't put a lot of their like, they put enough XP in their direct combat stuff to be able to, like, fend off some enemies, but they don't care about it beyond that. Like, they care a lot more about having a whole lot of skills or utilities or feats or other things. So it's like, I also don't want to, like, put those kinds of characters in the sort of position where it's like, oh boy, I have to buy something that I don't care about because I just happen to have a lot of XP for it. And
That's why what I have in mind on that front is, and I understand hesitation on this, but basically, I think we could allow them to purchase across the aisle, basically, but at an increased cost. So, like, if you do have a lot of combat XP that you're not using for something, okay, you can buy a skill with it. It's just instead of, you know, the normal rate, it's going to be 1.5 times. You know, that 2 dots in the skill, instead of being 10 XP, you know, 10 utility XP, it'll be 15 combat XP. And I really worry about the whole, like, what Demon's bringing up there about the whole, skill versus combat mode. I don't want the forums to be the solution there, because that's essentially what Demon's doing, and what I've seen done. I think, somebody else was doing it as well, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna have a combat form and a, regular form, and that'll... Essentially, they're just splitting the XP up that way anyways. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
in this form, I've got all of my XP is utility. In that form, all of it's combat.
yeah, and it's like, on one hand, that's definitely a lot, like, a lot of negative compared to what it, like, otherwise would, be preferable. But I don't know if splitting it up like that would actually solve that, because then people would just go, okay, I'll just do the same thing, but I'll just buy the additional skills at a slightly increased rate.
But it would still encourage them to spend it on what it's intended for.
Yeah. Because, like, that is one legitimate problem with the forms right now. Like, I don't use it for that. Like, for instance, for Shade and all of the different personalities having, like, different builds. They all have, like, very balanced builds with, like, a lot of skills and then, like, you know, a couple of, like, different combat things that they use to annoying degrees of effectiveness. It's just also... It also just, you know, still feels bad for characters who don't care about having a ton of, you know, skills or don't care about having a ton of combat capability. But on the other hand, it would fix the problem with forms right now, which is just people using them to have skill monkey form and Hulk form. You know?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, we're not in a combat scene. Okay, I'm in skill monkey mode, storyteller. Granted, that does have the downside of their first turn in combat, every single combat, is going to be, okay, I full action change to combat form. So it does
Yeah.
have the negative of putting them one turn behind, constantly, forever.
But that's also if they don't already know that they're going to be going into combat, which, let's be real, a lot of us are, like, we are usually aware of that. Wait, what? What's being damaged? Did I finally get attacked? I got attacked and I missed it? Oh, we got attacked over here, guys! They finally attacked us!
Woo!
Congratulations, send the welcoming party.
But, yeah, it's just...
Like, the original intention for the Forms Primeval feature was... Okay, so if you need to bust out a lot of healing, here you go. You switch to the healing form. Whereas, or, you know, things like that, but, you know, people
Or
are...
going from, like, a more balanced build to freak out mode.
Exactly. But we're not getting
People aren't
that
using it as much for that. Like, you know, I'm technically using it for that, but, you know... There is a certain amount of fun, though, to be had with having a dedicated I'm gonna kick your ass form.
Oh, yeah, but I don't want a... Okay, this is my out-of-combat form, and this is my combat form. That's what I want to avoid with that. Because that's kind of what we're getting right now.
Yeah.
That was not the intention in the first place with the Primeval feature, and it's like, I understand, and I'm okay with people using it this way. It's just showing me a problem that needs to be fixed, because that was not how it was supposed to be used. That wasn't the intention behind it. More power to them for the creativity. Gotta fix it.
Yeah, so, just thinking about it. I guess if we really, really, really want to accept having, you know, red, blue, and yellow XP, it's not the worst thing in the world, it's just also, it takes away a bit of the creativity that, like, I feel is very particular and special with our system. And, like, there are far worse things in the world than that. But, like, I do feel the need to at least say that.
I agree. It's one of those situations where it doesn't feel the greatest, but it's kind of what we gotta do.
There's also still the problem of, trying to figure out how much in the way of, just trying to figure out how much in the way of multiplier we want to add just for the discount XP problem.
I think if we go this route, we don't need to worry about the discount XP problem. Like, if we go the different varieties of XP, that will handle the other problem.
Well, yes, but there's a reason I'm bringing that up is because we were trying to calculate a certain amount of discount XP into getting characters to where we felt they should be. And in order to not, completely introduce Venezuelan hyperinflation levels of XP to the point where, it invalidates a lot of, characters actually having, different builds that can't just do everything automatically, we should try and figure out a good, what our ideal current with our current system and how we feel about it, what our ideal is.
I'm not sure I follow.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out what our current, if we swap over to this, there would have to be an amount of conversion that would have to happen. Because unless we want to literally double the amount of XP that every single character has, which I feel would be, kind of a bridge too far towards the current EXP thing, and will kind of just cause problems with the amount of basically making it so that way everyone could do everything. If it was just double the amount of our current XP. Trying to figure out where our current ratio is at and where we want to move that ratio to.
I would say what we do, if we decide to go with this, what we would do is, which I know a few people won't be super happy about this, but at least for now, we reduce the recommended XP per attribute from, average of 100 down to, I'd say, 75?
75 to 80 is probably about where I was leaning towards that,
Yeah.
because that will leave us with about 50% more XP than we currently have. And that's part of why I was trying to bring up, our current ideal amount of discount XP, because with that being the case, if, for instance, we pegged that at, we want our current amount of discount XP to be about 25% of the standard XP that they've earned. Because that's where we pegged it before. This would mean that we would be moving the total amount of XP that we intended for characters to have from being about 125 combined per attribute point to about 150 if we move to 75%, and then it being an even split. So that would mean that we are, doing a certain multiplier of the amount of XP that we're giving out. And I just wanted to check that and make sure that it wasn't going to be enough that we would,
there will be
ruining our own economy with Venezuelan hyperinflation.
Yeah, but this is also a playtest. And
yeah,
we can put this in, be like, hey, this is what we're doing. Again, just like with the magic system and everything else, this is all playtest. It could change from, we could put this in next month or for the next update, and then be like, yeah, this is terrible idea. We're scrapping it. But
yeah, it's just, we need to try to avoid that as much as possible, because the more we do that, people are going to get really mad about that, and reasonably so.
I agree. They've got very good reason to be upset on that, but...
Sorry, we invalidated your character. Try again.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and so, yeah, that's the thing with it, Var. It's like, I didn't want to, like, with this sort of, like, idea that we're currently going down, because it does sound like this is our current, like, musing of what we should do. I didn't want to introduce enough XP that it would feel like all of a sudden characters had, you know, a ton more to work with, to the point where it's like, you know, they have everything that they could ever want, and they have like XP that they don't even like have an idea to use it on, and then have the ability to basically, like, you know, not even give a fuck about like the finer details of their build because they have enough XP to just be able to do everything.
So,
you know, who needs a doctor when everyone can have 5 dots in medicine really, really easily, you know? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that with what you're saying, because like I have a character that's like an absolute feat monster, Nova. But I also have another character.
Lucky.
You know, and Lucky. But I have another character who, like, Vayne, he mostly just has a shit ton of combat stuff, like direct combat stuff. His feats that he does have are all direct combat stuff, mostly. The only thing that isn't is him having dark vision. And that's because that was, like, some of my starter feat picks. Which also helps during combat.
Oh, Vari. Yeah, Vari. Yeah. I don't think anybody is going to look at us giving them more XP and be like, I have no idea what to spend this on.
Yeah, but also, Vari, one of the things that was mentioned earlier was just doubling the amount of XP that we have currently during the split. And that would result in us having more than 300 XP to spend. And this also does limit it, so that way, you know, unless you want to start paying unless you want to start paying taxes, you have to, you know, spend a certain amount in this section and then a certain amount in this section. And if you want to, like, cross over the things, you need to pay taxes on it.
And that's why I'm also saying, like, there's plenty of feats out there that people would love to get. I know I've got plenty of feats that I'd love to grab with my characters. But Fervus is probably the prime example that I have for just absolutely struggling. Because I've got so many different ways to go, but that's kind of
and that's
thing
with me
like,
giving out like a decent amount of XP for that game.
Yeah. But I'm also trying to fulfill a lot of. I'm trying, like, that is entirely my fault.
Yeah.
And I do worry that it is kind of coloring what I'm wanting to do, like how I want to develop it is because of my personal struggle there. But I also feel that with Asher, with Squirrel, like, yeah, I've got decent skill sets with Asher and Squirrel, but actual moves, I've got nothing. I don't feel like I have the variety that I would like to have to work with. Squirrel is one-trick pony right now. Yeah, I've got a buff move, but... And I know... I know for sure that, Good night, Ido. I know for sure that, Enja keeps pushing me to go pick up this move and that move and this move and that move, and I'm like, I want to! I want to pick up Aura Sphere, I want to pick up, Or Sphere, I want to pick up Drain Punch and all this other stuff. I can't. I just don't have the XP because I also want to make sure that it's backed up with good defenses and skills and such.
One trick that I use on a lot of my characters is that unless I like legitimately need it to be higher or like want it to be higher for like a very specific reason, I just generally don't level skills above 3 that often.
I haven't been either. On most of my characters I have one skill that's above 3. Like on Squirrel, okay, Squirrel has 3 skills that are above 3. I've got Integrity and Clash at 4, and then Craft at 5. But I've also gotten a lot of discounts for Craft, for obvious reasons. Actually, all of it has been discounted to free. For Asher...
Good.
Asher only has medicine with 4 dots, and most of his other skills are 0 or 1. He's got a couple that are 2 dots and 3 that are at 3 dots.
Yeah.
Furvis, well, it's still early in the game to really, like, early in the campaign for this, but he doesn't have a single skill at 3 dots.
That's pretty normal for this phase, though.
Yeah.
Like, I know for a fact that, like, Riv's build, when it comes to, like, more combat things, is legitimately kind of coughing baby, but that's also because I've spent the XP to have academics at 5 and appraisal at 4. And then, like, craft at 2, investigation 2, lore 2, medicine 2, science 1, technology 3. It's like, for our current EXP level, that is outrageously expensive.
Yeah.
He has... He also bought multiple upgrades for Primeval Companion to have Mirror. And besides that, only has his starter feats. A starter move that he upgraded, which is Data Spike. A 30 XP buff move. And his full action glitch freeze thing, which also has a 60 XP discount on it from purchasing Gain 3 Exhaustion, just so I can afford to have it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just like, on one hand, I did it to myself, quite literally.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you know, there's that. Vayne Vayne has a couple of skills above 4, but it's literally only skills that I've gotten, like, a discount in. Like, for instance, due to the fact that, like, he habitually trains his emit, like, constantly. So, like, he has, like, a total of 20 emit EXP discount at this point. And that literally pays for the 4th dot, which is why he has the 4th dot. And that's from him practicing it, like, basically daily. Shade... Well, we're kind of, like, mid-game... approaching late game, so like he has actual skills, but like still.
Yeah.
He has less skills than the other personalities, though. God, Sean has a lot of skills. Clash 5, Deception 5, Evasion 5, Marksman 4, Subterfuge 5.
But,
Crazy bastard.
So, Vari, so Gieben, you've already outright stated that you're on board with this. Vari, what are you feeling about what we've been suggesting here?
Which, if you want a little bit of a recap, it's just red XP, blue XP, with you having a pool of XP that you're able to use for utilities like skills, feats, things like that. And then there's ability XP, which would be used for things like moves, weapons, magic, all that kind of stuff. Our EXP amount would be lowered to like 75% of our current thing, but we get that 75% in 2 different pools that are each separate. You can purchase you can use XP of one to pay for another, but it it's more expensive. It's 1.5 times more expensive, just like as a number to throw out there. I guess technically speaking, I should say I've only gotten 15 discount XP on Veins of Mid because that was one of his starter skills, but eh.
The region.
Vari, just to explain it, remember, it gets cut, but then it gets copied over into 2 pools, so we'd have about 50% more XP than we'd be. It's just that we could dedicate less to each one without paying a tax.
Yeah, you're not going to have, you're not actually having less XP, it's just, you're gonna need to be dedicated, have it more dedicated to other areas. It's like you're going, like, yeah, you're gonna have XP that is cut down, but overall, you're gonna have more XP to work with. I am definitely gonna need more walls up here.
By the way, one thing that I think is going to be very funny is that, this is besides our, like, current conversation, but, like, slightly related. Yoaliquatl is extra funny because, yeah, he has a total of, one ability at game start, and it is the starter ability that he put 10 extra XP into. Everything else went into, like, feats.
We are still so far away from actually starting that campaign, and yet you're already plotting it out.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm getting my backstory to Era in, like, a day or two. Granted, I knew that this was going to get invalidated anyway. The build that I started up for him. I already knew that was going to get invalidated. Because, you know, we were going to be introducing Might and then, like, you know, potentially changing EXP things, so, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's just,
And yes, Seda, he is always plotting, but, you know, that's beside the point.
but yeah, no, it's, I know I already know that I'm going to have to redo this, like, probably a couple of times, but that is not going to stop me from, you know, setting it up.
Fair.
By the way, we're going to have such a goddamn eclectic party.
How so?
Well, we have my character who has Aztec theming. There's Viv, who's likely going to be playing a Cerberus. Potentially a Himbo Cerberus. Vari is gonna play a like druidic natural disaster boy. Key was gonna be playing a southern accented carbuncle called Honey, very likely. And you're playing someone that's going to be able to turn into a gaseous cloud of fire.
Well, bless your soul.
So, like, we have what, like, the equivalency of South American for the carbuncle, Mesoamerican, Aztec, Greek with the Cerberus, we have probably, I think, Celtic for the natural disaster druid. Probably more Celtic theming with that one. I think you're playing an independent, right?
Independent?
Not attached to any sort of specific mythology or pantheon.
Not a pantheon, but elementals
I guess
have...
I should say culture. Culture. I guess I should have said.
Yeah, the elementals have kind of been a pretty common theme across multiple cultures.
Yeah. And I don't know about, like, the last person, because I haven't heard anything about their build. But, you know, at the very least, we have South American, Mesoamerican, Greek, Celtic, independent.
I will say...
Think about that in terms of eclectic parties.
I will say I am planning to draw some inspiration from djinns for it as well.
Okay, cool. So like the Middle Eastern kind of djinns.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So independent with minor Middle Eastern themes. This does not narrow down anything at all.
Bluebat, I sadly don't really have the time for more projects as much as I would absolutely love to get involved. But yeah, if any of the rest of you have ideas on that front, by all means, poke Bluebat.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Vari, like, do you see what I'm saying when I'm talking about how absolutely unbelievably eclectic our party is? We'll form team worldwide if the last person goes any amount of like African or Asian inspirations. Or I guess
Hey, what about Australian?
well, yeah, but we only have like one more slot available.
But it won't be worldwide.
We don't have enough people for it to be worldwide.
Yeah, but you can't call it worldwide then.
You know what? Fuck it. Just because you said that, I'm counting yours as the Asian one because Middle East.
I mean, that is Asia, so that's fine.
Yeah, but it's like more Asia Minor.
But I've also heard that Taya may not be continuing.
Ah.
I hope he continues.
I'll be honest, I didn't
but-
even know who the last person was.
Fair. I hope he continues with us, but... yeah.
Bluebat, the premise of the campaign is effectively, what if mythology was all real and it was, you know, all of the different, like, cultural magical things just happened to return modern day and, like, accidentally semi-apocalypse the world, but then, like, it just continued and now there was a bunch of magical people around.
Well, more specifically, everybody in the world became all of those,
Yeah. It became all the different magical and mythological things.
yeah.
Like, about half the people changed, and then, like, you know, a solid 25% of the world died on the day where that happened, just due to all the chaos. I think 25% casualty rate worldwide is enough to call it a minor apocalypse, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we all kind of chose characters that were based off of this or that mythology or culture or supernatural persuasion. My character is more Aztec themed, which I also think it's hilarious because I know how to pronounce a lot of Nahuatl things. Nahuatl pronunciations are very fun to me. And one thing that makes it better, in my opinion, is that Era is not very good at pronouncing those sorts of things, or at least hasn't like looked into how to pronounce them.
And you're playing as Ketsi.
Not actually playing as Quetzalcoatl. That is, my character is not actually divine in any way, and actual Quetzalcoatl exists, and he you know, runs a YouTube channel.
Yep.
That my character is a very big fan of.
We're not allowed to
He
be.
runs a YouTube channel called Feathered Worm. Yeah, we're not allowed to be actual gods or anything actually divine. So I'm playing a more minor feathered serpent. But yeah, no, the rest of the Aztec pantheon is like busy throwing an absolute fucking fit. And then Quetzalcoatl is just, vibing, running a YouTube channel called Feathered Worm, occasionally ranting about sacrifice etiquette. But also, like, it just does a bunch of stuff. Like, imagine, I think the best way to describe it is, like, imagine Vsauce, but they also occasionally rant about how to do proper sacrifices and stuff.
To
So
be
just
fair,
normal Vsauce.
yeah, I was gonna say. To be fair, that's 100% something they do.
Well, yeah, but you know. You know what I was saying.
Yes, but I can be pedantic as well.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's very funny to me. And very on brand for Quetzalcoatl, considering that after his time as the sun god, he really calmed down. He may have apocalypsed the world once, but it was only once. And that's more than you could say about some of the other Aztec deities. A lot of the other Aztec deities, actually. Fun fact, did you know that by Aztec and Nahuatl, reckoning, we were actually on the 5th iteration of existence?
I did not know that was a thing, no.
Yeah, that's also why they were so insane about sacrifices constantly, is because they thought that after this existence there wouldn't be another one, and that this was the last chance for the world, and the only way to sustain it was to give the gods powers through sacrifice.
Huh.
Which is why they went
Neat.
so fucking hard. Aztecs were basically living life mythological-wise on Dark Souls mode. Which, that bodes so well for us, considering the Aztec gods have now reawoken and are throwing a fit in that game. Doesn't that bode so well for us?
Especially since you didn't update their calendar.
Well, that are the Mayans. Which also have woken up and are probably throwing a fit. Provided that they don't... I asked Era about this, about, like, what's the status with, like, sister religion things, like, Nahuatl and Mayan, and then,
Greek and Roman.
Greek and Roman. And then his answer was basically just, like, depends how much I know about them. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's fair, but that also doesn't help my damn question.
Yeah. I will freely admit, when Era was messaging me about what I thought about you joining, that was one of the things that I brought up, was the whole, you realize,
I'm an actual mythology nerd too, so like...
Yeah. And hello, Epic.
Hey, Epic.
We're not talking about wild traditions right now. But no, the nuke was not enough. I've got plans for other stuff. Don't worry.
I was about to say, a single nuke? Come on. Don't be ridiculous. A single nuke being enough. Come on. But yeah, no, the downside of me existing near a campaign is always that I hunger for information. But hey, at least that question in particular does legitimately matter, considering that there is more than one sister religion out there.
Yeah.
That's the one where I could say without shame, yeah, that question actually matters.
And is a very valid curiosity regardless.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so it really does depend if, well, because also there's different branches of the Mayan religion as well. Because, like,
Because, like,
there
nobody
was
can agree
Aztec,
on anything.
Mayan, Mixtec, Zapotec, Yucatan Mayan, Quiche Mayan had different things. Because there's like another Mayan split based, because the actual landmass where the Mayan religion was worshipped was actually in a couple different like areas and was geographically broken up into like 2 places. So sometimes they had different idiosyncrasies. But yeah, no, so it is like an interesting question on if, like, for instance, Quetzalcoatl and Kukulkan are actually the same entity going by different names, or if they're actually, like, properly distinct entities in Era's thing.
And to the believers who are the ones that the god says you're wrong.
Yeah, like... awkward.
Congratulations, your entire belief system was wrong. Die.
Yeah, imagine just getting hit with the factually incorrect, you believed in the wrong thing, eradicate. Simultaneously funny, and also, damn, unfortunate for them. Imagine finding out you literally picked the wrong religion empirically. My character isn't even going to be like that strong of a believer in the whole Aztec thing, but they're literally just going to be sitting there like, I'm a feathered serpent. Regardless of anything else, I should probably hedge on the bet that that's probably where my afterlife is.
Or think about a character that's so atheist that that's their own belief.
Yeah. Although atheists will probably sound a lot like flat earthers in this world. With, there's literally gods again now that are just there.
Anybody strong enough can declare themselves a god.
This guy that runs this YouTube channel claims he is a god? Well, I don't see him doing any great deity things. Okay, get smoked. Is that enough proof for you?
But yeah, no, it's gonna be really funny where my character is just like, straight up like Mictacasihuatl may not be so pleased with me, so maybe I should at least pay some lip service. That's one of the Aztec gods of death, by the way. There's Mictacasihuatl and Mictlantec. Wait, what was that one's name? Because Mictlan is the underworld, and the other one has Mictlan in their name. Mictlan Takutli? I think it was Mictlan Takutli. Mictacasihuatl and Mictan Takutli. Yeah. Oh, by the way, also fun fact, Aztec Afterlife was also, raw as hell.
You're making me want to play the uplifted Western.
I'm actually unfamiliar with that.
I'm trying to remember exactly. It's let me
this would have been a lot easier to figure out if I just, like, actually fucking Googled the name instead of trying to, like, work my way backwards through Aztec mythology to try and remember the name. That would have been a lot better of an idea. I don't know why I didn't just Google what the name was. That was a decision of all time. This game is pretty far away, but this doesn't stop me from immediately considering the world building, the various things that could happen, as well as, how my character would have interacted with everything that went on and their backstory with it. I may not be able to write a book because that got outlawed, but I can still think it. I can still think it, damn it. She can't stop me from writing the book in my mind. What is my current pollution production?
Yes.
Oh, it's still only like 6K. That's fine. I'm only slowly losing on all fronts. But I need all this pollution, considering that all of my things are like 4 times as expensive.
I did not tell you to go anywhere. Where the fuck are you going?
On an adventure.
One of my trains just randomly decided it was going to go... Like, this train has... It waited here for a while. And then decided to go just fuck off back to the other station.
Yeah. But yeah, Epic. Era didn't want people to... because there's a big disparity on the amount of stuff that, like, people will write for a game, like when it came to the players, where like some players would write books that required a TLDR in order to be more usable. Hi, I'm one of those. And then there's other people where, don't really write anything, and that results in him having less to do with their characters and sometimes not actually doing things with their characters as much as other people. So he kind of outlawed writing an entire book just so that way it's more fair for everyone. Which, like, on one hand, understandable. On the other hand, no, I like my books. I don't even need to send them to people. I just like making them and writing them. You know, I never sent Zim like the full ridiculous thing for Nova. I just gave him like a fairly detailed TLDR, and that's been more than enough. Unless you want the whole thing.
There's stuff for Nova?
Yes. What makes you? I gave you an entire TLDR and told you, hey, I wrote a lot more. Just let me know if you want anything more on like a particular topic, because I didn't just want to send you the multi-thousand-word document on what I wrote for Nova.
Right.
And I just TLDR'd it for you, and you used that. Unless you want the whole thing, I could give you the whole thing.
No, I'm good.
Epic, you act like I don't already do that.
What silly thing did the puppy say this time?
Oh, they said that this means you just need to make the book within the session. And I went, you act like I don't already do that. And if you ain't seen me play, then, you know, maybe you should come around, watch some of the tabletops. I'm in almost all of them.
Yeah, he's in pretty much all of them.
There's 2 that I'm not in.
The thing that I was thinking of is if you had EU4 and CK3 and you imported the save from CK3 to EU4.
Yeah.
Having the High American.
I don't think that... Actually, you know what? No, because I haven't actually imported that in.
Because it's Sunset Invasion DLC that makes it so the Western nations on America are actually more technologically advanced than Europe, and they're invading.
But then you can also just get High American anyway as a part of the Native American mission trees in EU4.
Aztecs start off in control of the entirety of Mesoamerica, possess different national ideas, and have the High American Technology Group.
Oh, neat. Although, doesn't that technically hurt them with their religion, considering their Doom mechanic? With Nahuatl?
It changes things up to help.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because, like, you know, technically speaking, that kind of, like, fucks the Aztecs in the long run with their religion. Do they start with their religion reformed?
Let's see. I forget. I know that there's the achievement on the Edge of Madness, as Aztecs reach 95 Doom, then go 20 years without Doom hitting 100.
Yeah, but that's a part of
The
normal
normal
gameplay.
one. Yeah.
Which I actually haven't done. I should really do. But I just did a Mayan run, and the Mayan run isn't that different from the Aztecs, besides just being less powerful.
Ouch. Ouch, Epic.
Yeah, damn.
How to call somebody's passion boring as hell.
Ouch. Yowza. Then again, I think I have enough time to get in one good EU4 run before EU5 comes out, and I'm lost. So, hey Toshi, what do you think I should play?
Crusader Kings. Uh-huh.
Haha, hee hoo hoo. I don't even have all the DLC for CK3. Yeah, even if you don't have like a nation in mind, maybe just like a region.
You could try the fun thing as playing one of the Russian miners.
Like Odeyev and all them, Tver.
Yeah.
Do you count Novgorod as one of the Russian miners?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're a little
okay.
bit better, but
I'm not sure if I will actually play as them. It's just that, like, I'm thinking about what achievements I haven't bothered getting. And I know I don't have the Frozen Assets one. But again, I don't think I have many of the Russian miner achievements. I mean, I got into Hypnosis because it's fucking hot.
Here, here. I really did not leave enough space over here.
I just realized I really haven't actually played as one of the Russian miners. I normally play the hordes around there. Like, I don't even have the Form Russia achievement. Huh. But I have the one for Gold Rush. I have the Gold Rush achievement. So I guess I could get the Form Russia one, all belongs to Mother Russia. I could get Relentless Push East starting as a Russian nation by 1600, own the East Siberian coastline. Isn't there one for Kinslayer, where you have to start as one of the,
Hey there, Peach, by the way.
Hey, Peach. Yeah, I don't have Frozen Assets. Kinslayer. As Tver, Yaroslavl, Ryazan, Belorazaro, Rostov, or Odeyev, eliminate all other Rurikovich nations without changing your ruling dynasty. I'll go for that one. And then the various other Russia-associated ones.
just make sure not to Regency.
Yeah. Then again, I guess I can't technically control that, but you know. I mean, I guess I can with Introduce Air, but then everyone will kill me.
These are indeed words they are saying.
Yep.
Much many words of all time.
By the
Your
way, it was a
mindset.
bad weekend for my sports ball. One of my teams got crushed, and the other one has added another loss despite scoring over 40 points.
Oh, by the way, should probably put in the notes about the... Wait, why is that even here? This train was sitting here. You should not have... Should probably put in the notes about what we were talking about for XP stuff.
I just titled it Utility and Ability XP.
And all the details we
Saints
had for it.
Saints or Commanders?
Bengals. We lost to the fucking Bears, but we scored like 42 points. And then last week we lost to the Jets despite scoring like 38 points. Our defense does not exist, I swear to God. Yeah, we lost to the Bears 47-42. No team in the past few years has had more losses while scoring 40 plus points than the Bengals. I think we've lost more than we've won when we score 40 plus points.
Is this better, Zim? We're talking about other things.
These are indeed words you both are using, yes.
And I'm glad that one of the new games for EU is going to have Merchant Republics relevant again.
Yep. I checked. The Bengals and the Lions are tied for losing the most games while scoring 40 plus points, each with 5 losses. God, fuck my life when it comes to my sports ball. I guess I could go Ryazan. They have good ideas. You know what? Sure, I'll play as Ryazan. I start independent, I have decent ideas, and I'm sandwiched between 3 massive countries that want to fucking kill me.
Good luck.
Yet another save file where it's just a bunch of E's.
There's some miners over there, but I don't know if I want to run all the way over there just to grab that. And yet, here I go running over there. What does it take for the exoskeleton? Oh, right. Expense. Super, super expensive. At least for me right now.
0 countries will accept my offer of an alliance. Alright, Zan.
Yes, Epic? I do need to get this side of this copper field cleaned out. But that can wait. It's not like I'm gonna be in need of more, copper for a while anyways. Alright, you. Off to the iron mine. Oh, wow. You're right, Epic. I'm gonna finish setting up this mine, and then we'll end. You know, I went through all that effort and then forgot to grab the thing that I actually went over here for in the first place. Or back to my HQ for. Well, especially with a game like this, Epic, where, Factorio is somewhat notorious for starting, you know, literally launching the game and suddenly being like, wait, when did it get to be 6 a.m.? That is just a thing that happens with Factorio. Tao can attest to that.
Yep. But then again, I also have like 1,000 hours in Factorio, so you know.
So in other words, it's happened to Tao many, many times. Well,
I've also been playing this game since high school, so you know.
Well, that's not saying much.
Well, yeah, but that's also because I have like 31,000 hours in Age of Empires 2.
Alright. Yeah, that's worth it. Alright, that'll be grabbed by another miner, so I don't need to worry about it. Even if it's a tiny little speck, I want it.
Well, tiny little specks are biters. Good luck.
Well, I mean, I've complained about them not actually attacking anyways, so, you know. Manual crafting. Maybe I should set up automation for making mining drills.
I mean, you might as well. It's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
And if you just have like a single assembler machine on it, that'll still produce way more than you need if you just box it. Don't you hate it when you sneeze so hard that your arms hurt? And your shoulders ache?
I cannot say that I have ever experienced this.
No. It only happens to me when I sneeze, like, really fucking hard.
Alright, now to build this all up. And then power it all. And we will be good to go. And all the way over here. And at this point, we will do that. That. This iron ore has a very long way that it's got to travel. But... like on belts. But ultimately, it's what I gotta do because I didn't give enough space for the train in here. There. On the one hand, it's nice to have really neat power lines and all that. Ultimately, the only thing that matters is that it's functional.
Joke.
Gotta make sure that I drop a radar down here so I can actually see what's going on when I'm not here.
And that one not connected.
Yeah, I'm seeing these two that aren't actually powered here. And that, irks me. You know what? I have solution. May not be a nice solution, but it's a solution.
It works.
It just works, little life stunning shows people buy, money flows, it just works. High lightning, high secret rue. Alright, nothing is complaining about not enough power or anything. Throw that in there. Automatic. I want to make sure this actually is functioning correctly. Hey, they're attacking! And they're dead instantly. Ah, crap. I'm gonna have to do something about that there. Um... What do you mean exactly, Lightning? I've got chain signals down here, yes, but I also have them here. Because this is another intersection. I think you mean that I need less chain signals. Because I have chain signals. But I think I need to remove this and this. Remove both of these, and that should be what should fix my problem. Yeah, definitely think I need less, not more. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know where I'd put more signals. Or how those would actually fix anything. I guess I could replace this with a rail signal? Or chain signal? Why not lightning? I see no issue with the siding being bi-directional. Ammo delivery! Oh, yeah, I don't care that much about that, lightning. I'm gonna watch this attack come. Just because I want to watch them get absolutely demolished. I wish that this game had speed controls. Because sometimes I would like to slow it down. Like when I'm going to fight a nest. And other times I'd like to speed it up when I'm just sitting here waiting on something.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, I'm sure there's a mod for that. I know that there's a bottleneck on this, but I can't do anything about that really, because I don't have the space to split this up how I would prefer to, like I have down here. Well, yeah, but I don't want to go that route either. This place is not it's not a matter of sprinting to it anyways. That is a huge amount of effort, Epic. At this stage, especially. Well, this mine will be constantly under attack, but I'm okay with that. All right. Well. Oh, that's all right, Lightning. I'm gonna be, wrapping it up here anyways, so have a good night, Lightning, and thank you everybody for joining us today for Factorio. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We've got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. They're on the website as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and your support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to help out the channel, though you can also do so by sharing the stream around, grabbing merch over at zgfgaming.store, picking up packs of cards to stream loots, or just subscribing to our YouTube. But for now, thank you so very much for joining, everybody, and I bid you all the most fondest adieu.
Bye-bye.
Bye.